Crack yours open. There it is.
Ooh, yeah.
We're cooking. We're
good.
cooking. We'll
Right.
get a little cheers in there. All righty.
Yep.
Welcome to the Paragon Performance Podcast, episode number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined here with our very special guest, Pat, our engineer, or Patrick, whatever you prefer.
I refer myself as Patrick, but, call me Pat. Fine.
Oh, yeah. Paragon Pat.
Paragon Pat.
That
Yep.
works. So, well, thank you for joining us on
Yeah.
the podcast here today. We're excited to have you. And with some of the upcoming exciting stuff with the ZR1s we're going to have here soon at the shop, I thought it would be really cool to get your kind of perspective as like an engineer and very technical guy on that car. But first, can you just give us kind of a background of yourself, how you got into motorsports, what that background is, and just kind of a quick little introduction for those that don't know you?
Yeah, for sure. So I always loved cars growing up. I played like Need for Speed, Porsche Unleashed, Gran Turismo, Forza, all those things. Always just like loved cars. And when I was in high school, got my first car, and I was like into the car audio thing, and had always been into audio. So I was kind of combining those like passions. And at some point, I got a Mazda, and someone's like, "Hey, this is a good autocross car." And I was like, "What's autocross?" And I learned like, yeah, you go out to these parking lots and they set up courses and there's different classes. And I was like, this is cool. So I started trying that and just got hooked. And immediately I was like, okay, we got to make this car faster. Like, let's take this heavy audio stuff out of there. Let's build this to be faster, lower it, new wheels, tires. I eventually put a turbocharger on it, wired in a standalone ECO. I have no idea how that like actually worked, but it did. I was like, incredible. Because this is like early 2000s.
Okay.
There's like hard to find anything on the internet at that point. You're just on forums, like following some guy's like 40-page build where he's like, yeah, this is what I did and it worked. And you're like, well, I hope it works because, there's not many resources.
Mm-hmm.
But built that car up, blew it up, and I was like, okay, this is fun. Let's try this again. But like, let's get a car that's more suited for autocross and this kind of thing. So that's when I got my S2000. And for a few years, I tried to run that competitively.
Mm-hmm.
Found out that there's a lot of really fast drivers out there, and you have to put in like tons of seat time and resources to becoming like nationally competitive. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's try some other things. And got onto the bigger tracks, did some track days, and started wheel-to-wheel racing with some of my good friends that I met through autocross, including Jeremy, owner of Paragon.
Yep.
So that was cool. Yeah.
Okay, so always been kind of involved in the car scene, it sounds like, and I guess with the audio and building those cars, did that give you kind of some of the skills or the idea that, hey, engineering's something I might enjoy?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just always had this passion for tinkering and wanting to see how you could incrementally improve things, and just how does this work and how can we improve this?
Okay, and so being here at Paragon, how did that happen?
So yeah, like I said, I knew Jeremy through autocross. We met probably 15, 20 years ago. And it was at an autocross, and I see this 16-year-old in an Evo, and I'm like, who the heck's this kid? I'm like, pretty fast or whatever. Well, it turns out he wasn't 16. Jeremy was much older, but he just has a baby face, so he looked really young.
Yep.
And we became friends and did all those racing things or whatever. And about the time they were doing his prior business, I was in school for mechanical engineering, finally like, okay, I'm going to get this degree and hopefully do something with it. Not even really thinking that I would get into the auto field, but always thought that would be awesome. And I got out of that graduated from that and went and worked with a company that does truck accessories, and like it was cool. It was like, not my passion, but like pretty close. And a lot of the skills that I learned there and a lot of the products we did functionally kind of the same ideas, principles into the stuff that we do here. And about that time, Jeremy was like, "Hey, I'm bored with my retirement. I'm going
Yep.
to start this Paragon company. Like, do you want to come do that kind of stuff, but performance stuff for Corvettes?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, sign me up, man.
It's the
Let's go."
hardest question ever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, oh yeah. I was like, "Well, let me think
Need some
about
time
this."
to think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
It's we got trucks or Corvettes. It's
yeah.
kind of a rough choice there. But so I guess coming to work here, obviously you probably like the Corvette a little bit more than a truck, or can at least respect them both. Did you like Corvettes when you started working here? Or
Yeah, actually, I did. So in the autocross, like, there were a couple guys that were like national autocross champions. And I think he had a C5Z and then eventually a C6Z, and he would come out and just destroy everyone in a stock car, other than like I think different tires, wheels, and a sway bar was all you could do in the stock class,
yep,
and just blistering fast. And I'm like, that's impressive. So I did like the Corvettes,
yep,
but at that time, like the interior stuff, like I was like, it's not the nicest interior back then. It looked a lot like Illumina that I had
oh,
owned around the same time,
yep,
and I was
yep,
like, okay, this is, you can see where the overlap is, um, and also just like kind of the demographic. I mean, again, I was like early 20s at that point, and I'm like, I associate this car with 50-year-old men. Now that I'm a lot closer to 50, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. Also, the Corvettes are a lot nicer now.
yeah, yeah. I think they target a lot different demographic now. It's not like with the C5s or C6. It was your grandfather's car. The jean shorts and New Balance kind of car. It's evolved into this what the C8 Corvette is now. A totally different demographic.
Yeah, for sure. And just cars in general, like the build quality, the interiors of everything has just come up in the past 10 or 15 years so much. So it kind of uh, bridged that gap and made it just a better all around car. Like they're just incredible daily drivers, but can just go out and fly on the racetrack.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So with the C8 Corvette, what do you have like a favorite model out of all the current ones? And I know just today, at the time of this filming, they just released the ZR1X. So I know you probably haven't had a ton of time to check that out, but from the lots of other options, Stingray, Z06, E-Ray, all that kind of stuff. Do you have like a favorite?
Oh man, I mean, they're all really good, so that's tough to say. And I've, you know, only really driven the E-Ray on the track in the wet, so
Yep.
that was an experience. Even at 7/10, or it felt like a lot more than that
Yep.
in the wet. So like the Z06 was the only one that I've really had track time with.
Okay.
But I would definitely say the Z06 is probably my favorite, just because the sound, the sensation you get from that motor is incredible, and I love how all the wide bodies look. But I mean, they're all really good.
Yeah.
And who knows, after seeing a ZR1, what that's going to be like in person. I can't imagine what that thing's like to drive, but I mean, they made the Z06 such an approachable car. I could see somehow how they make the 1,000 horsepower, attainable for us mere mortals to
Right.
handle, and not just immediately send it into the closest ditch.
That's always been kind of the joke here is, it's like, what are people going to do with 1,000 horsepower? You're going to pull off the lot and it, like you said, end up around a light pole or something like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully the traction management and PTM on them is dialed in.
Yeah, I mean, they do a really good job with it, so I
Yeah.
have faith that it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And with that, the engineering to kind of switch gears, I know you were able to speak with some of the like GM engineers the last time we were at the NCM Bash. What was kind of some of the stuff you talked about, or like the knowledge you gained from that?
Um, yeah, just from that experience, I mean, honestly, I didn't get too in depth with them, but
Yep.
watching some of the presentation that they put on there, and then watching some of the videos that you see online that talk to the engineers and all the thought process that went behind it. Um, I think the thing that impresses me the most is the scope of the whole C8 architecture. and how they knew from the beginning that they were going to do, the C8, the Z06, the E-Ray, the ZR1, ZR1X, and how this car has been here. We've had these things forever, and it's essentially the same car since 2020. They just changed some body panels and then obviously the different engines and all that. But to design it and have the packaging for all that, because it's not easy to fit those turbochargers in there and all the cooling that's necessary for that. You would think they would have to do like a major redesign to fit that, but they just knew from the beginning. And to do that and to do it at scale, to make it something where it doesn't cost $1 million to have something like this is takes a lot of planning and is very impressive.
Okay. I had that on my list of things to ask is like what was something with the C8 that, from like a technical and engineering standpoint kind of amazes you, and I guess that kind of answered that. So I guess how do you think they do that? Do you think they start like at the top model and just kind of work their way back until they're at the Stingray, or how engineering wise does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have to have kind of a game plan from the beginning, like, okay, we need this, and they know, okay, for the ZR1, we want this much horsepower, and we're gonna use this engine and have, okay, we need this amount of coolers because you can figure out what cooling capacity you need, go from there. Yeah, so just all the cars, the engineering, I think like the entire scope of the thing is super impressive. How they can get all the systems to work together and have a car that's like ultra compliant and smooth, but also be like an absolute menace on the track. And the thing that I thought was crazy is like going in on the Z06 on the track, I thought like, oh, you're gonna notice like when all the systems are kicking in, because what were we running in at Ron Fellows? What mode was that?
I think it was like a medium level PTM where it lets you have a little bit, but it wasn't like the one where it's all the way off where there's no assists. It was
Right.
like a happy medium, I believe.
Okay, but yeah, so even with that, like at least you didn't really feel like if anything went like wrong or anything, which I mean, I'm not a perfect driver, so like I'm sure it was helping at some points, but you didn't feel it like kick in or grab brakes, or it didn't really, you didn't feel like it cut power or anything. Because some of the cars I've driven in the past, like when you have the systems on like that, like you'll notice, you'll be like, okay, like it'll catch you, like you'll feel a rear brake
Yeah.
grab or something, or
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it definitely cuts power where you can just tell. Like, I think it's impressive how they've done that with the systems just to make everything um, invisible feeling to an extent.
Yeah. Where it just all flawlessly works kind of in the background where, if like you said, if you do need it, it kicks on, but it's not like an instant you feel it kick on.
Yeah.
So with some of the new models coming out, especially the 26 with the interior changes, what kind of goes behind or your process of, not starting from scratch essentially, but with that whole new interior, how do you go about like making all the parts and stuff like that for that?
Yeah, so the first thing, I mean, obviously, we'll need to get a car in person and just kind of look at it and see what changed, see if any of the existing things work with it, and then go through and just say like, okay, what parts do we want to do? Do we, are there things that we want to add, or maybe things that we don't think are worth doing? Aren't worth the investment cost of redoing that part,
Yep.
and then from there, start ranking them on, okay, what's top priority, start with that, get some 3D scans, and from there design away. Yeah.
So how long does that process take from, having the idea saying, "Hey, we're going to make, the interior trim for the new 26 model," to actually like having either a prototype or, stock on our shelves?
Yeah, for sure. I think it depends on the part, like as
Okay.
like how complex it is and what manufacturing process it is.
Yep.
But um, like I think for the Z06, we were kind of like wishy washy on if we wanted to do the extended splash guards.
Yep.
For whatever reason, we were like, oh, we don't need to do those. And then like
Right.
we thought about it more, and we are like, oh, actually, probably should do this. Like this car is going to kick a lot of stuff along the side,
Yep.
and you want to protect your paint, everything.
Yeah.
And we just knew like they already sold a lot for the Stingray. So we're like, okay, let's do it. So it was kind of a late start on that project, and did the scans on that and came up with a design. I don't know. Don't remember exactly how long it took. Maybe a few days to get a design done, 3D print it. Probably takes another day or two. We tested it and we're like, okay, that looks good. Make some revisions, do another 3D print. So a couple weeks in that process, and then we're like happy with where we're at. So we send it to the manufacturer, and I think they had, and I don't know if they had a prototype, like the first sample out of the mold, in a couple months, and then we
Okay.
had stock within 6 months. So maybe that was a 6 month turnaround time, which in the scheme of things is pretty quick for these things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I'd say that 6 months in the best case scenario. There's other projects where it's definitely feels like it's a year or longer. It's just depends on the scope of the project.
Yeah, yeah. And so with that, what's been kind of one of your favorite projects to work on?
Oh man. I mean, that was a cool project just because kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, it's not like the most interesting part, but
Yeah,
like
yep.
it just was like last minute. And then we got it done quick and got it in and like sold a lot of them, and really happy with how it turned out. Um, that was a fun one. I've always enjoyed collaborating with some of the other companies that we work with.
Yep.
People that have more, expertise, like working with Hyperco. Like that's what they do. They make springs for NASCAR, I think, and a
Yeah,
bunch of
yep.
like actual motorsports. So just collaborating with them, kind of getting them measurements, and then they do the design and send it back to us, and we get samples. It's fun to do that. The guys at Even Jury are obviously they're amazing.
Yeah.
Just super smart. Never thought that they would have got that much power out of an intake. I mean, it's incredible, the Z06 intake and the different revisions they sent us. Yeah, think about that.
So has there ever been like a moment like where when you're working with those companies, or maybe at the beginning, whether that be here at Paragon or at your former job, where you would see like a product that you were modeling in CAD but see it in person or see it on a car somewhere, and kind of have to like pinch yourself like, oh, this is real, like that's something I helped out with. Has there ever been like a moment or a feeling similar to that?
Yeah, I mean, at when we were at NC and Bash, it was cool seeing like all the cars. There were quite a few cars with our products and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or seeing it on, Facebook, all the Corvette groups that we were in, like just scrolling through and seeing our products. It's pretty cool. I don't know. It's weird to think like I don't know. I don't see it, so sometimes I don't believe that they're actually out there.
So with that, has there ever been like a product, and I feel like I already know the answer, but the opposite that's been like maybe not your favorite to work on, or something where you're pulling out your hair?
Oh yeah. Well, there've been a couple of those. I mean, the whole ducktail debacle that we had with our aero kit that we worked with Varus. I mean, that was I don't even know if I want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Maybe we need to have a podcast with Eric here, and then he'll like punch me or something. Oh yeah, that was yeah. We had they designed this part off of 3D scans that I had provided,
Yep.
because they were doing all the aero work, because that's what they specialize in, is making race cars go fast. So and they make awesome stuff. And we test fit this 3D printed thing, and it looked great. And we're like, okay, let's green light it. And they're like, okay, we're a little hesitant. We've had issues with molds in the past. We'd feel better if we were there to see it. And and at the time we got some CAD through SEMA for the bumper, and we're like, oh, we'll design off of that. Well, we they designed off of that and sent it off for production. It came back and it didn't fit good. It turns out there's a lot of tolerance to be desired in the bumpers. I mean, it was like 3mm gaps. Like you couldn't fill that with any amount of 3M tape. So we went through a lot of revisions figuring out that was the issue. Um, so that one was fun. Trying to troubleshoot the bezel lights, the DRL things.
That's the one I was thinking of. It was just
Yeah,
last week you were in the shop working, and
yeah,
I could see you just with all the wires out and everything,
yeah. Just the
and
steam coming out of my ears. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I don't know. But hey, I think we got a fix on that. So
Okay, well,
yeah,
so good news. It's
yes,
gotta feel kind of rewarding then,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah,
That's one thing is Pat is so good with ideas and stuff because there's been so many video ideas that like you've come up with or helped come along. You're such a creative guy, and I guess that's why so many of the parts we have are so cool. Is that creativity. But I mean, you've helped out with so many of the videos that are on our YouTube channel, so that makes sense. But
well, I enjoy it. So please like and subscribe, comment.
so with the new ZR1 coming and the ZR1X, what is kind of some of the products that you have already in mind for that car?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not a ton. I
Yep.
feel like that a lot, since the body's mostly the same, a lot
Yeah.
of that's going to carry over.
Yep.
Interior wise is the same.
Yep.
I think we'll see if we can do spacers.
Okay.
That's one that we usually like to do. It looks good.
Yeah. Yep.
I know even Turi wants to work on see if they can do anything intake wise on that, which I think will be awesome.
Yeah.
See if it gains any power.
You definitely need more horsepower out of that.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah,
64 just isn't enough.
yeah, no, yeah. Well, I mean, somebody's gonna come along with more.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be interested to see the inventory on the ZR1X. That'll be cool. 1,300 horsepower or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. We'll look into doing springs. I
okay.
just don't know, who's if the market's going to be big with that. That's kind of the problem we'll run into with any of the projects for that, because like I would love to like go nuts and be like, "Look, can we make this thing even more extreme? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
work with Varus and do a new aero kit specifically for that with like a big old front splitter and an even bigger wing,
Yep.
and then put more power into it and just have it be a time attack monster." But like, they're gonna sell like one of those. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like,
It's
so.
the limited because I think the 25s they've got 300 maybe that they're
Yeah,
gonna make before they do the 26 interior change, and then they make the new models, which I guess an aero kit would work for that. But it's how many people are going to be willing to say, hey, I just bought a $250,000 car, and now I'm gonna put all kinds of stuff on it.
yeah, and also why? Like, I mean, that thing out of the box is gonna go out and just obliterate,
Oh,
most of the competition.
absolutely. I mean, especially that ZR1X, I think, you see a lot of people online debating and, is it a hypercar or is it not? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it has what 1,250
Yeah,
horsepower.
1250.
I would say yes.
Yeah, I feel like it has kind of all the qualifications to be a hypercar, but it just feels weird, saying Corvette and hypercar in the same sentence.
Yeah, yeah. And unless you're like saying it has to be, a even more ridiculous price, like it's only a hypercar if it's a certain amount of money or a rarity thing, like I think it's definitely a hypercar.
I think so, especially with the X, because I mean, you and I were both at the NCM Bash presentation, and they had that slide that was kind of cool up of all the kind of the competition or what they based the ZR1 off of, and I think one of them was like the Mercedes Benz like AMG one or something like that, and it was what like a couple $1 million or something like that, and it's like that's the car that this ZR1's competing with, and it starts under $200,000. Like that's kind of impressive.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's insane. They're just the value for the performance is crazy on all of them.
I just that's insane, and you can fit your golf clubs in the back, of course.
Oh yeah, got to.
Get to the golf club or golf course even faster now.
Nope.
So with these new cars like the ZR1 and ZR1X, and obviously we haven't seen those in person yet, but with the Stingray up to like the E-Ray, has there been anything from like the GM engineering aspect that you've seen that like they could have done better? I know you've given them tons of kudos and like respected all that they've done, but is there anything that you've seen that personally you're like, this could have been done differently or something like that?
Um, I mean, maybe maybe more information will come out about the ZR1X, but I just wonder what are they going to do next? Like what what did they leave out that they wish they could have done? Active aero or maybe a rear wheel steer or something like that? Or are they just going to go and try to make the next generation more lightweight? Because right now they're starting to get to be pretty heavy cars for what they are.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that they missed. What about? Do you have anything?
I not really. I mean,
It's perfect from the
it's
factory.
perfect from the factory. The GM engineers knew what they were doing. They, I mean, no, it's a pretty good car. I think there's maybe a little bit of room for improvement. I don't know what that improvement would be, but I mean, just having mine and daily driving it, and it's a fantastic car. It's cool. It's at the end of the day, it's a Chevy. You can go do your own oil changes with it, and now they're in the 1,000 horsepower making numbers, which is insane. And I think we got to get you a Corvette here soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, I mean, I think uh, maybe some of the higher end models a little more. I mean, they do have some styling changes, but maybe something more extreme to make it really stand out. Because I think to a normal person, I mean, even with a Stingray and a Z06, they might not be able to immediately tell a difference. And then from a Z06 to especially with Z07 package to a ZR1, it might be tougher for someone to tell the difference. And that would be a minor quibble. I think you can find complaints about anything if you want.
Yeah, if you look hard enough, but I guess that is a good one. I agree. Kind of seeing the photos and stuff of it today, it's sort of, you have to be looking for that big X logo behind the ZR1 badging on the side. Otherwise, it just looks like a ZR1. I sort of wish they would have, done something a little different with the arrow or done just something different to make it a little different from the ZR1 appearance wise. I mean, it's hard to complain about 1,250 horsepower, but looks wise, if that pulls up next to you at the gas station and there's a ZR1 one pump over, I mean, at a quick glance, are you really going to be able to tell the difference?
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, I agree with you. Something.
I would think it'd be interesting to see if like they kind of went the light weighting route and like offer a more expensive version that just removes stuff to make it lighter. Because I mean that's typically what like a lot of the high end makers do is like, oh, you want the rear seat to lead or whatever. Obviously there's no rear seat in the Corvette, but that kind of thing where they just take out like, oh yeah, we'll give you more road noise by thinner glass and less sound
remove all the stuff. Yeah.
But bring some weight out of it and maybe offer that with a more, aggressive aero package or something like that. I think that could be kind of a cool thing because we're talking about it the other day, our constant arguments of, oh, this car versus that car. And
Yes.
I mean, I think it was like the GT3 RS is like 500 pounds less than a Z06.
Yeah,
That's quite a bit of weight. But
It's
what if you took a Z06 or a Stingray and you started taking some weight out of it and kind of made it in more of an aero track car kind of package?
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to see Grid Life this summer. There's a rumor has it there's a little Paragon gutted Stingray running around somewhere.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that, but maybe a little more streetable.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess they do have I think it's $725,000. You can buy that GT3R, race car. Essentially the C8R. But
all right, so I guess they already ran with that idea.
They're one step ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They thought of everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure how streetable that one is, but it's something. We did see that at NCM Bash. Did you get a chance to kind of check that out or look at that at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Kind of cool. Do you ever take kind of inspiration from that, or I mean, from other car maybe brands or manufacturers and try to bring that to the Corvette ever?
Oh yeah, obviously, like kind of look at those and draw inspiration from that. Try to see if we can get some style ideas from that. Brainstorm different different products.
Yeah. And so speaking of products, is there any Paragon products down the pipeline or that you have upstairs in the old dome that you can share with us that might be coming
Oh
soon?
yeah. One that was actually okay to answer your earlier question of interesting products or products that I liked working on. The new side skirt and front splitters that are coming for the wide body cars. So
Yes.
it's kind of 5VM inspired,
Yep.
but for a wide body car. So call it 5ZM maybe.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But just really happy how that project turned out. We did that video. I don't know. That was probably a year ago. The
Yeah.
behind the engineering.
Yeah. Yep.
But, got the first samples in for that maybe a month or so ago, and everything fit really nice. And really happy with just how it looks. So that one should be coming hopefully soon. It minor just fit and finish tweaks.
Okay.
Really no major changes. So
Yeah.
should be seeing production fairly soon.
That'll be cool to see
Yeah,
see
yeah,
some of those. And
yeah.
like you said, pretty exciting for you to finish that.
Yeah, so that one, I mean, that one was less inspired by other automakers and just inspired by Chevy themselves. But
Yeah.
I mean, we just have so many cars that come in, especially the Stingrays with the 5EM kits, and
Yep.
that was a hot one. So see if it works for the wide bodies.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I guess I have seen it now that you mentioned. I have seen it on our shop card. It does look really good. It
Thanks.
follows the body lines, and that's pretty cool. And so with that, I mean, like you said, you can create the shapes and everything of that. That's all you. And so you took inspiration then kind of from that 5VM kit and brought it to the Z06 and I guess the E-Ray with that wide body.
Yep. Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, that looks awesome. I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to get that on and have a different option than some of the other other side skirts and front lip options currently on the market because there's really not a whole lot on the market right now for the wide bodies.
There's not a ton, yeah, and those cars are really starting to become like more commonplace.
Yes.
I mean, I totally understand why. I mean, like they're awesome. The Z06 is awesome, and the E-Ray, you can drive it all year like Corey does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just saw on Facebook the other day. It was like I think it was like a 1LZ or something, but it was like a base model Z06, but it was like 20 grand under sticker, and I was like, it was
Really?
yeah, it was like a little over 100 grand, and I'm
Okay.
like, that's
Yeah.
not bad. I think sticker
Yeah.
was like 120 or something on it, and I'm like, because it had some nice options on it. It was a convertible, very clean looking car, and I was like, that somebody's gonna get a great deal on
Yeah.
these cars. And
Yeah.
like you said, you're starting to see more and more of them come out. So with that, do you have any other parts for the wide bodies coming out that you can share with us, or not yet? I don't know.
So I know. Okay, yeah. I don't have. We need to send samples into GM for approvals. It's not new, but it's variations on old products. So like the billet bars and the caps.
Oh yes, yeah.
It'll be more of those, but with the CO6 branding, the E-Ray branding. I think some other variations on that. So those should be, I assume, coming out fairly soon.
Okay, well that'll be exciting. Then. So the bars there in the back, the
bars,
strut
yep,
tower
and
bars right there.
Yep.
So now you'll be able to get the Z06 and E-Ray branding on them. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's an exciting one. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with the caps.
So now something like that, is there like a certain part that comes to mind that, from the outside looks like it would be really easy, but once you got into it, it was, a lot more complex to work on?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them can be like that. Sometimes just anything dealing with like a body panel with a complex like surface to get it to mate perfectly, that can be a bit challenging. Like I was talking about in the ducktail story.
Yeah. Yep.
So those can be difficult. Yeah.
When will you be making a manual conversion, a stick shift conversion for the C8 Corvettes?
Oh, it's on the top of my list. Yeah.
You're right. No, I had that thrown in there.
Yeah.
That's I think that would do pretty well.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Are there light bars coming for the wide body cars?
Oh
Can you
yeah,
say?
there might be something coming
Is
for
that
the wide
possibly in the
bodies.
works?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
alrighty.
that's we have a should have a sample, maybe 3D printed sample sometime soon. So that'll be
Okay.
cool. Keep an eye out for that. Maybe that'll be a new behind the engineering video that we can do.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Start teasing that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I know we've got some plan for the ZR1s here, kind of to show a behind the scenes of how, from start to finish you're scanning and doing the stuff with the ZR1s. But yeah, I think the people on YouTube and online really enjoyed that last time. It is cool to see behind the engineering.
Oh yeah, yeah. Who doesn't like seeing 3D scanning? It's so cool.
It really is. I know it might be boring for you, but every time you're doing it, I sprint out into the shop just to stand and watch. It's just, it's a cool deal.
Yeah, been doing it for years, and every time I do it too, I'm just like, oh, this is cool.
I mean, it's cool to see, and especially when you're on your office editing, I can't help, especially walking in and like kind of peek over at the screen, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's like the front of the C8 Corvette, but it's like a 3D model, and you're moving all around and doing stuff with it. Like it's just, it's a really cool deal you got going there, and obviously you're pretty good. You're pretty good at it.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. How much horsepower do you think the ZR1's going to make on the dyno?
Oh God, yeah, we were just talking about this.
I said 999 because I'm thinking they're severely underrating. That's my guess.
You think so?
I don't know. I just guess. I mean, it'd be making a lot of power to do that.
Yeah, you're right. So 1064. I don't know, because it's so funny when I went around that shop and asked that earlier and wrote everybody's answers down. So when we do dyno it and make a video about that, see whoever got the closest guess, but to see what it makes on the dyno, it was so funny because everybody immediately started pulling out calculators and trying to do
really? Man. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're going to do that, like
trying to figure out the drivetrain loss and everything like that on it.
So the Z's rated at like 670.
670.
But they usually make like 600.
Yeah. You're around
so they're losing like 10%. So I mean, I guess you could do that off of that. So 10% off of 1,064 would lose 106 horsepower or whatever.
I think so, yeah, roughly.
Yeah, so
950s.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I don't know. Math's not my strong suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Me neither, man. Oh wait. Yeah, but so I'm gonna stick with my guns and say that they're underrating it, and it's gonna be 999.
There you
Bob.
go.
Yep.
Bob.
What's your guess?
Oh, good Lord. I feel like it'll be in the high nines as well. I think it'll be that 975, maybe 980 range. I think would be something kind of cool. I mean, your high 900s to any vehicle rear wheel drive is going to be insane.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just excited to see it on the dyno and hear it. I think we all are excited.
Yeah, to hear that thing in person.
Oh yeah. Is it so? What's most exciting for you? With the upcoming ZR1 stuff.
I mean, yeah, just hearing it, just
right. Should be pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, going for a ride in one would obviously be pretty mind-boggling.
I think so. Yeah, I think hopefully we can arrange that, or gift some cookies or something like that for a ride along. Would be kind of cool. Not sure how many other ZR1s we'll have in here and be able to have the opportunities that are coming here in the next week or two.
Yep,
be kind of cool.
When are you gonna get an old Corvette? We need to get you into like a C5 or C6, like Cody.
C6s,
get you into that. You need to take that to the track. And destroy that, not the Baja Blast.
I think we're a little too late. I don't know if you've seen the car recently. It's
fine. I mean, it hasn't hit a tire wall. Like
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to an older Corvette. The C6s I really like. No hate to the C5s. I don't particularly care for them. They don't speak to me as much as a C6, especially with the color matched headlights. Like I'm a big fan of those. Especially that blue color. I mean, I'd be happy with any of them, but like the C6 Z06 and obviously the Blue Devil, the ZR1 from that generation is iconic. That engine in there, and it's just America. It's
hell yeah.
Kind of cool. What about you? What old Corvette would you go with?
Oh man, I don't know. I keep seeing a C5Z in my neighborhood. It's yellow, and
Okay.
I don't think I like yellow cars, but I see that and I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. Like, I don't know, just with the little black ducks in the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
man, yeah, I don't know. That thing looks good. And the guy I was talking about earlier that autocrossed, he had a yellow one, and I think that kind of that calls my name. I could hoon that. That'd be fun.
Okay. Specifically a yellow one, or
Yeah,
it would,
let's
okay.
just go yellow.
Okay,
Yep.
right. I was gonna say it's one of those racing games. It was the cover, right? It was like a yellow C5 or C6, I thought, right in
I
there.
think you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember seeing something from not way back in the day, but just not too long ago.
It's been a while, yeah, probably.
No, that's pretty cool. The old Corvettes are pretty cool, but there's something about the new ones.
Yeah.
Like you've driven it. I mean, it's so cool to be able to drive, these cars, daily drive them. I've got 20 something thousand on mine now, and then you can take it to the track and it's an absolute beast. Now, how many people are going to do that with the, ZR1 or ZR1X or whatever is next for them? I don't know, but it is cool to see more of the Stingrays and Z06s and a little bit of the E-Rays out on track. And
Yeah.
with that, is there, what's the biggest difference between, autocrossing an S2000 and then driving in the rain on a racetrack in an E-Ray, 700 horsepower E-Ray? Do you notice any difference, or does it feel about the same?
There's a lot more things to hit on a racetrack than an autocross.
More than just cones.
Yeah. I mean, you can hit stuff at an autocross, but you got to mess up pretty bad.
Yeah. No, that's probably one of my core memories, was being out on track with you in the E-Ray, and then behind you in my Z06, and just hooning in the rain, and kind of trying to keep up with you. I mean, that thing was a beast. You were driving it like you stole it in the rain. That was impressive. I got to give it to you.
I was just following the instructor. He's lead follow, and I was following, and I was like, well, I mean, he knows what he's doing. But we had a couple of those like spots where there was some deep standing water, and I was like, all right, this is a little sketchy.
Oh, there's about half that last kind of first session, the last lap there when we were hitting some of those puddles. I think Corey got a video where the back of the car, mine slid out, and I was like, all right, weather mode, and we're just gonna 30, 40 miles an hour around and get back in the pits. And we had a moment after where it was pretty cool. We were all hyped up, and we're race car drivers. It was the Ron Fellows experience really came in handy there.
Oh yeah.
And with that, obviously, you got to drive a Z06 at Ron Fellows. How was that?
That was awesome. Yeah, I would go back in a heartbeat. That was so much fun. It was really cool just getting out and getting up to speed and trusting the car. At first going out and just being like, okay, doing okay, and then just adding speed, and towards the end, it's just like, I want more sessions. I know I can go faster out there, especially like you coming in saying like what your time was, and I was like, oh man, like, all right, I go out there and find some time. Rob's killing it. But it was phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Ron Fellows was hands down one of the coolest things, and I mean, just so cool to get to go with all the guys from here and get to go kind of do that with your buddies and work colleagues was something kind of special, really cool.
Oh,
you don't get that really at another job.
No,
it's kind of a cool little Paragon deal there.
Yeah, and if anyone owns a Corvette and you haven't gone to Ron Fellows, like, you absolutely need to go. You're missing out.
It's a must.
It's a blast.
I was gonna say I try
really well run.
I try to tell people that all the time. I think we have it on the list, is to like make a video or something about it. Just, you have to go. If you have a Corvette, you have to go to Ron Fellows. I mean, we were all so lucky to be able to go drive the cars, and if you have one, you'd be dumb not to go. It'd be a wasted ticket if you didn't use it. I mean, yeah, you still have to pay $1,000, but like you said, for the experience that we got, the training, the instructors were so well knowledged on the car and the tracking, and the whole experience was just cool. I could yap about it for hours, but it was just such a cool thing. So I'm glad to hear you had a good time there as well.
Yep, go out there, abuse somebody else's car. They do all the maintenance for you, so you know that the brakes and everything's good, everything's going to be safe.
Yep.
And just how the instructors adapt. If they're slower drivers, they'll really help them. But if they can tell that you're faster, they'll give you space and help you go even faster.
Yeah.
Which is I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be watered down.
Yep.
You know, like, oh, they're not going to let you go that fast.
Yeah,
But
you're
no,
gonna-
they really let you
Oh
go.
yeah, yeah. We were cooking.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel, we
Yeah.
were cooking. That was something else. And I believe you did pretty good at the autocross there as well.
Yeah, not
Right?
bad, not bad.
I think we got a picture somewhere. I think you were like you were one of the champions of the group. I think.
Yeah.
So all that training
Oh,
years
man,
back
yeah.
came in handy, huh?
Oh. Just needed my S2000 out there.
Oh man, yeah. No, that was a cool experience. So speaking of like the Ronfellows and tracking, obviously I know we've talked about it in like a previous podcast, but Dottie, the ceramic matrix gray car is off somewhere sorry, off, where's it at? Winning Formula?
Yeah, it's at
Okay,
Winning
all right,
Formula.
So speaking of like tracking stuff, our other car Dottie, the ceramic matrix gray one, which I believe you're very familiar with.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hence the name.
Yep.
That one's off, I think, at Winning Formula, getting like cage and full gutted, like full bore race car.
Yep.
You know, are you excited about that, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. So Dottie was the original car we got for development, and immediately took it apart and started 3D scanning it. So it spent probably the better part of a year or two just in various states of disassembly, covered in the little dots, about, I don't know, like 10 of them in a square foot of every single body panel. So just covered in dots. And that's how it became named Dottie. And that's what we used to develop a ton of the parts, the headers, the exhaust, any of the cosmetic stuff. And then that's where we worked with Veris for them to do the aero kit for that and put that on there. And it saw the track a little bit while we had it here, but we're just, we're kind of isolated from racetracks. We're all busy with our schedules, and also it's a marketing asset to us. So we couldn't necessarily take it out to a racetrack and send it and hope for the best. But now that it's served its purpose, we've got the second Stingray, and we've got, CO6s and all the cars in the world here. It has moved on to become a wheel-to-wheel car. And I'm very excited to see that this, the actual aero and development that was put into it, and see what it can do and how it'll do out on the racetrack. I believe they're putting on MCS suspension, so it'll have proper suspension to deal with the aero and all the go fast bits that are on it. I think they have to detune it for the class.
Okay.
But yeah, really excited. And we're also, since we are busy and, we're good drivers. Jeremy's an excellent driver, but he'll admit that there's faster hands out there. So Aaron is going to be piloting that. So it'll be really cool to go out there and see how it does. Planning on going to the race at the end of July, I think.
I think so. Is that Road America?
Yeah,
right. I was gonna say. I know we were just talking about that the other day. I think
I'm gonna go to that.
I was gonna say a handful of us. I think are gonna be there to
love that track.
Watch it.
I want to see how it does.
Iconic track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you done much tracking before?
Yeah. So I've done a good amount of track days, and then I was on a 24 Hours of Lemons team, so we would do 24-hour races in our 1989 Honda Civic Si.
That's awesome.
It was a blast. Like, I mean, like, it was a quick car, but not the fastest.
Yeah.
But since you're doing 24-hour races, it was a little more strategy than just outright speed.
Yeah.
So there were cars that were faster, but they'd have to come in for fuel more frequently.
Yep.
So we could run, probably almost 3 hours a stint before you had to come in for fuel and switch to another driver. It was also a lot easier on consumables like brake pads and tires. And, didn't have too many mechanical failures. I mean, there were always issues. Can't remember if we ever had a perfectly clean race where, something didn't fail, but that was a blast. So we ran that at the Iowa Speedway. So they would run the oval for 4 hours, and then they would switch it to the Roval, the road course oval combo, run that for 4 hours and switch on and off for 24 hours. We did a we raced at Road America. I don't remember if that was a straight 24. That might have been. Sometimes towards the end, they started splitting it into like 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday.
Okay.
I think it was just a logistics thing. Like it was hard to get course workers to work 24 hours
I was gonna
straight.
say that long, yeah.
You need a lot of personnel for that.
Yep.
But yeah, a whole bunch of different races that we did in that car. So that was cool. We had some good finishes. I don't think we ever took the top step, but I think we were on the podium at least.
So that's pretty
Yeah,
good. That's
yeah,
something. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
so that's pretty funny. So what is like one of your favorite tracks? And obviously Road America is pretty cool, but I mean, out of some of the tracks that you've been to, what's kind of some of your favorite tracks?
Man, yeah. I love Road America just because it's so beautiful there. Like
Oh, it's gorgeous.
You're just in the woods.
Yep.
It's awesome. Awesome experience. Like we would go there and watch the American Le Mans series, and just that environment was really fun and relaxing. But Laguna Seca is pretty epic. Going through the corkscrew there a couple of years ago, that was awesome to drive that. That one, I mean, having played Gran Turismo and all the games, like
Yeah. Yep.
that one was definitely on the list. Road Atlanta's a wild track. I never like got the confidence to do I think it's turn 12. You come over a blind hill and then drop down to the right.
Yes.
And like
Yeah.
it looks like the road just disappears, like you're ramping it off of a cliff. And you have visual markers, but I didn't have the confidence to just really haul.
Full sended.
Yeah, I was there in my own car, no cage or anything.
Yeah,
I drove it there, so I was like, I'd like to drive it home.
It'd be nice to
Yeah.
be able to get home. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. So that one's up there for sure. And NCM, like that, I had no idea that track was going to be as cool as it is.
Oh, it's complex.
Yeah,
it's
it
a really
is.
technical track.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. What about you? What's your favorite track?
I mean,
we need to get you out to some more.
I would say I'm trying. I'm trying to get some more track experience under the belt here. That'll be hopefully coming here soon. We got the trailer now, so that should make things a lot easier to tote the car and camp out in the back of the expedition or something like that, and get the Corvette out on track and utilize some of those parts on it. Really test out that Maxton wing and the Eventuri and put it to good use. So
yeah, we need to get you a big front splitter to match out the wing, man.
I might know a guy. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
we have
probably
something?
have one. I don't know. I bet one's coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. No, it should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting out to doing some more track stuff with that car. I mean, by far I have the most sim time in Road America, so that naturally is one of my favorite tracks. And getting to be there, was it last year I think, and going and on a ride along in Jeremy's GT3 RS, it was all right.
Yeah.
It was an all right car to go on a ride along with.
Yeah.
But it was a really fun track. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And obviously they have the Corvette Corral, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Got to visit that.
Yeah. The sense of speed, well, I mean, you are going extremely fast at Road America, but just the trees, like as you're going through the Kettle Moraine forest, like adds to the experience.
Oh, I finally understood,
man.
that what they meant when it was a high horsepower track. I mean, with Jeremy, we were behind like, I don't know, like a C4 or something that's out there, and right after the kink, the guy gave him the point around, and Jeremy just goes around and full on just sends it, and I'm like, holy cow, we're gonna go off the track right here. And I'm like, we're not stopping at this last turn here, that right hand turn.
Oh
there.
yeah, yep.
I'm like,
corner.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm like, there's no way. And he just catches the curbing off to the right side and then zips back over to the left as he just flies past this. And then like you said, I looked around and the trees are just right by you, and I'm like, all right, we're moving, we're cooking. It's a really fun track, so I'm looking forward to. I think that's one of the coolest ones that's close to us. I mean,
yeah,
obviously Laguna would be cool, but I think that's
that's a track.
Hefty drive from Des Moines.
Yeah, just a little bit,
a little bit of a trip. So I could see myself at Road America quite a bit. Hopefully, this summer for some events would be really cool. I know you like to do autocross. Are you hoping to get out to some autocross events?
I do want to get out. It's been a while. I need to get out and knock the dust off and have fun. Because I mean, it's just like such a great place where you can really turn off all the nannies and just, I don't know.
Have a good time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just low consequence.
Yeah.
Have
Yep.
fun. Really competitive. Yeah, it's a different kind of vibe, but it's a blast. You're never going straight for long, so you're always doing some sort of input,
Right.
getting the car to dance.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's well, so I guess before I let you go, I gotta ask, obviously, out of the C8 lineup, which model would you choose if you had to pick one? And what spec, which color with the new 26 colors?
Ooh.
What would be your dream spec C8 Corvette, Pat?
Oh man. Well, I think based on today, you would have to say ZR1X.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the obvious go-to.
Yep.
Do that in Riptide Blue.
Okay.
We'll do definitely gonna do a coupe.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me the ZTK.
Okay. Big wing.
Yeah,
Yep.
let's go full bore on that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, the win the lotto like dream pick, but
right.
yeah, probably Z06, man. Yeah,
Really? Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Riptide Z06.
Yep. What color interior?
That's tough. I mean, probably just go boring. Go like black.
Black or red?
Yeah. I'm interested in the new black like Alcantara, right?
Yeah,
They're like
yes,
suede
yeah,
interior.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
I was looking today. They have some pretty interesting like interior choices. Like on I think I was in the ZR1X builder, or just the little one that they had available, and they had they had the like normal white or gray interior like what I've got on mine, but then they had a different option where it was like a full white and like gray, where it was like the seats, the everything in there was white. And I was playing around with it. They had some different options.
Okay.
And it just seemed like the 26s had a lot more options. I think you can do 2 colored seats now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. Did you see that picture where there's like the driver's seat is red and the passenger's black? I'm like, I don't know who that's for, but I'm like, I guess it's kind of a cool. It looked cool in the photo.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like,
I don't know if I would choose that,
right?
but like it's cool.
Okay, well, so if we see you in a Riptide Z06 or a ZR1X, we'll know. Hey, Pat won the lottery.
Yep.
Oh man, well, sweet. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man, and taking the time. I know you're busy designing all the great parts that everybody's come to know and love, and just thanks for everything that you do and all the engineering, and thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk, and hopefully we'll get you on some more behind the engineering and get some of those out so people can see how cool the stuff that you come up with, and we'll be excited to see what you come up with next.
Yeah.
So, thanks for being on the podcast, Pat. I appreciate it, man.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to let me know by leaving a like down below, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next from our next guests, and that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next Paragon podcast. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool.